Alright, so let's begin. What's up guys, Akshay here, and today I'm bringing you guys my full review of the Moto G 2015 about 60 days later. Now, just right off the bat, I really love this phone. I've been using it for quite a long time now, and it finally feels like that Motorola has cracked the code for being the best budget phone on the market. Now, just to get this out of the way, the Moto G is cheap. It comes in two variants, one with 8GB of storage and 1GB of RAM, and the other one that comes with 16GB of storage and comes with 2GB of RAM, which is the one that I've been testing out, and both of them cost $180 and $220 respectively, depending on the variant that you decide to pick up. Now, the phone looks a lot like the Moto X, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Think of it as a plastic version of the same. Now, obviously you won't find any real metal on this thing with the design, but rather plastic pretending to be metal. Now, this year round, the Moto G is also getting the Moto Maker treatment, so you can really customize everything on your smartphone, from the front face to the accent color and the back panel according to your liking, and that is awesome. Now, on the back panel of the phone, there are these ridges that I'm a big fan of. They really provide you with a good texture and grip to the phone, but don't really attract any kind of dust or crumbs. Now, the back panel of the phone is removable and gives you access to two SIM card slots, and the phone does support LTE, so you can rock those high speeds whenever you want to. There's also space for a micro SD card slot, so you can add additional storage up to 32GB. Now, if you put up the back panel up properly and it's all tight in the right places, the Moto G is actually IPX7 certified, which means that it's water resistant, and you can drop it in water up to 3 feet for about 30 minutes with no problems at all. Now, the 2015 model of the Moto G is comparatively more thicker than last year's model, but it wasn't really a huge difference for me, and I could easily use the phone with one hand without any problems. Now, talking about that display up front, it's a 5-inch 720p IPS panel with Corning Gorilla Glass 3, and the display is okay. It's not like the best thing on the market or the best thing that you'll ever see, but it has good viewing angle, gets decently bright outside, and the colors were just a bit muted for my taste. Now, while that might not be a big problem all the time, but that is something you sometimes notice while consuming media or playing games. Now, the performance on this thing is rather surprising. It's rocking a quad-core Snapdragon 410 and an Adreno 306, and it handled through all the tasks pretty well that you threw at it without any kind of problems. Whether it was playing games or switching between a lot of applications, everything was fast and smooth. Now, the speaker on this thing is on the front. Oh yes, now it's not stereo speakers and it's just rather one speaker, but it does get fairly loud, and it's pretty good for the price, and something that I would actually prefer over downward facing or rear facing speakers. Now, the Moto G is a budget device, and there are cutbacks on this thing, like no NFC or faster 5GHz Wi-Fi support, but it does finally come with LTE, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now, one of the things that I love about the Motorola smartphones is their software. Now, I'm a big fan of stock pure Android, and you don't have a lot of Motorola applications on here, and the ones that you do have fit in with the stock Android feel perfectly and only complements the overall experience of the user. Like, you have the Moto display, which tells you about the notifications and the time when you pick up the phone from the table or pull it out of your pocket, and there are some gestures that I've loved using along the way, like the karate chop to turn on the dual tone LED flash, or the flick of the wrist to activate the camera no matter where you are in the smartphone. Now, talking about a bit more about that camera, it has a 5-megapixel sensor on the front for all your selfies and all your Snapchats, and you have a 13-megapixel sensor from the Nexus 6 on the back, minus the optical image stabilization and 4K capabilities. Now, the camera is fast in opening up and taking shots, but the photos that were taken with the camera were rather decent. The photos that were taken in bright daylight look fairly good. They'll be good and contrasty, however that is not the case overall. Now, take the shots inside and they would turn out to be rather bland. Night shots are bad, the video on this thing is okay, and there's a lot of lack of detail and sharpness in the images. Now, the camera is going to be absolutely fine for all those Snapchats and Instagrams, but that's pretty much it. It's not game changing or anything, but then again, you won't expect it to be at this price point. Now, my best feature of the phone apart from the software was the battery life. It has a 2500 mAh battery. To comprise it in 2 words, it's spectacular, and that's coming from someone who uses his phone all day long from 6 AM in the morning till the time I come back from school at 7 PM, and that includes listening to music, watching some videos, catching up on my social media, playing games. It had absolutely no problems, and the phone never died on me. Now, what I'm saying is, and hear me out here, that this is the best budget phone on the market that you can buy, that I can recommend to anyone who's looking for a great phone for around $200 and doesn't want to go through any kind of fancy flash sales or invite systems. It has a decent camera, a decent display, but it does come with great performance, near stock Android, and great battery life along with LTE. So that's pretty much it, guys. That was my full review of the Moto G 2015. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below because more content is coming very soon on the channel that you don't want to miss. Trust me. Also, don't forget to follow me on all my social media networks, especially on Snapchat and Twitter. I'm super active over there and I love to interact with you guys. That's been it. Thank you so much for watching and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.